Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samasta Janakalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Okay, so Hari Om everyone, and we are continuing our Bhaja Govindam. So today we're officially going to enter into the text. So I hope that all of you have the text. It's this Bhaja Govindam by Adi Shankaracharya ji. We have had a few sessions on Hinduism. We had a session on Guru, on Adi Shankaracharya. So now we're going to start his text. Last time where we left off was a very beautiful interaction. Adi Shankaracharya ji was in Varanasi. And when he was in Varanasi, he was teaching there. He came across this older man. You know, he must have been around his 80s. And this older man, around his 80s, he was doing pata. He was studying grammar. And when Adi Shankaracharya ji saw this, it's like his heart almost broke. And he busted out with Bhaja Govindam, Govindam, Bhajam Mudamate. He busted out with this stotra. He said, seek Govinda, seek Govinda. And he says the appointed time, you never know when it's going to come. And this grammar is not going to help you. And so with this was the beginning of Bhaja Govindam. And the next 12 verses, he speaks about different ways and reasons why we should seek Govinda. And his students were so inspired that 14 of them after that, they also put in their own verses. And Adi Shankaracharya ji closes it with 4 verses at the end. So we have a full thing of 31 verses. First verse from Adi Shankaracharya ji, which is like the refrain, the chorus, you know, that you have in music. Then you have the 12 of Adi Shankaracharya, then the 14 of his students, and then he wraps up with the 4. So now we're thinking, you know, when we think about this stotra that Adi Shankaracharya ji has come or given to us, it's a very hard-hitting one. He's not a soft-spoken and sweet in this one. This one is like Moha Mudgara, it's called like hammers of delusion. It's like he's hammering all of our delusion. Why is that? It's like, you know, when you wake up a child, let's say the child has to go to school at 7 o'clock. What happens? At 6 o'clock, you start waking up the child, right? And when you wake up the child at 6 o'clock, you're saying, Raju, wake up, very gentle, because there's still 1 hour. There's still 1 hour for the child to go. So it's okay. But of course, the child doesn't wake up, turns to the side and sleeps again. Then at 6:30, you go wake up the child because you're saying you have to be up. You have to be up and ready by 7. 6:30, your voice changes. Raju, get up. You know, because then your bus is going to come at 7:10. But this Raju still doesn't get up. A little bit more nudge. Raju doesn't get up, turns on the other side, and goes to sleep again. But at 7 o'clock, you know, the bus is going to come in like 10 minutes. You're like, Raju, get up. Like, there's no soft speaking. There's no like nudging. There's like yelling and just lifting him up and saying, get ready. Your bus is going to be there. That's what Adi Shankaracharya is like. He's like, get up, wake up. It's time to pursue this now. So his language here is very hard-hitting. In fact, in Bhaja Govindam, he calls us fools. When you want to market something to somebody, you want to sell something to someone, you would probably say, oh, you're so beautiful, you're so wonderful, will you buy my product? And they'll be like, yes, yes, yes. But he's saying, oh, fool, read my scripture. Right? So his language is really hard hitting. But that's the beauty of this text. It's just straight up. Now, we start the first verse. So I'll go ahead and chant it. Does anyone want to volunteer to repeat? Anyone want to volunteer to repeat? Okay. Okay, great. Okay, Rashmikaji, that's wonderful. So I'll chant and then you please repeat. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam. So I think you can. Let me just unmute you.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam.
Govindam Bhaja Mudamate.
Govindam Bhaja Mudamate.
Samprapte Sannihite Kale.
Samprapte Sannihite Kale.
Nahi nahi rakshati dukrin karane.
Nahi nahi rakshati dukruni karane.
Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudamate. Samprapte Sannihite Kale. Nahi nahi rakshati dukrin karane. So now, this is the first verse. Now, I'm going to ask you all a question. What do you think is the best thing we can do in life? What's the best thing we can do right here, right now? If you were to think about life. So you can either unmute or you can tell me in chat, whichever one you like.
Control our mind.
Okay, control our.
And then control our thoughts. Put the security guard over there. And think what is the useful, and we have a growth on it, which is close to God.
Okay, okay, okay. Anybody else? What's the best thing we can do? Yeah, Arvind, yeah.
To detach.
Detach.
But I have a question, which is, I guess, is it, if we had to rank, is it better to detach or be attached and do, quote, the right thing?
So Adi Shankaracharya tells us here, the best thing to do is be attached. But be attached to whom? God. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam, Bhaja Budamate. The caption of the first verse is evolve, don't revolve. And he says, evolve, don't revolve. Bhaja means seek. Seek Govinda. Govinda means that eternal truth. Seek Govinda, Govinda you seek. The best thing in life we can do right here and right now is to seek the truth. Why? Just think about it. We're already seeking fulfillment. We've been seeking fulfillment for ages, for so long. We've been seeking it in wealth. And we feel like the more wealth we create and are able to sustain, we will be fulfilled. But we all know that's not true, because that feeling of emptiness still comes. And so we seek fulfillment in, pleasures. going here and going there and traveling the world, and we seek fulfillment there. But we've done that also. We've lived long enough, we've done that also. But yet we still feel empty. We seek fulfillment in seeing our families thrive and grow. But there's still disappointments there. We feel empty. Or we seek fulfillment in gaining lots of worldly knowledge and becoming so incredibly wise, but we're not fulfilled. And so Adi Shankaracharya ji says, you are seeking fulfillment. Seek it where it is. Fulfillment is not in the word. Fulfillment is in the truth. We had seen in Vedanta that the world can be divided into seer and seen. The observer, the observed. We've sought fulfillment in the observed. We're professionals at it. We've been doing it for a long time now, but we haven't found it. So he says, why are you seeking fulfillment there where it's not? It is not in the seen world. It's not in the experienced world, because fulfillment is in the seer. So he says, Bhaja Govindam. Look for that fulfillment which is in Govinda. It's there. So find it there. Turn your attention there. Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Budamate. He says it's about time. And Gurudev makes this very beautiful analysis of the word Govinda. If you look at the page 5 of the commentary, there are 4 ways which you can see the word Govinda. Go can mean truth. It can mean earth. It can mean cow. It can mean Veda. It can mean speech. So here he says Govinda can be dissolved in 4 ways. Number 1, he who finds or knows the earth, one who has realized the substratum upon the which the world play is going on. So one meaning of Govinda is the substratum of the world, which is Brahman, the truth. Second meaning of Govinda, the Lord of cattle, not only is the divine cowherd of Gokula, but the very life-giving factor behind all animal passions and the very essence behind the animal kingdom. That again is pure consciousness, awareness. That's Brahman. 3, who confers speech, the very power, the very consciousness behind every single bark of an animal, cooing of a crow, speech of an individual. That's Govinda, pure awareness. 4th is the reality known through the Veda. As I said, Go can also mean Veda. That's Govinda. So when he's saying seek Govinda, yes, some people can see it as seeking Lord Krishna. Yes, if you have a devotional mind and heart, why not? But when you break the word down, what it really means is seek the ultimate truth, because that is the purpose of life. There's absolutely no other purpose for which we came. We did not come to build a family, to create a career, to become famous, to be in some social group. We did not come for that. We came to realize God. That's the sole purpose of life. And if we go through life without realizing this, what a waste. What a waste. A sheer waste. Just imagine, if you bought a really expensive iPhone, very expensive iPhone, and what did you do with that iPhone? You used it just to make a phone call. You spend $1,000 on an iPhone, and you use that iPhone just to make a phone call. What will people say? They'll say, are you crazy? Why did you spend $1,000? Just buy like a $50 phone, right? What if you bought a $3,000 computer, but you use that computer just to play one game? everybody would say, why did you buy a $3,000 computer then? Why not just buy, I don't know what they have now, but a Game Boy or whatever. Why don't you just buy that? The same thing Adi Shankaracharya ji says. You and I have human birth. That's very rare. You and I have this security. We have good wealth. We have financial security. We have stability. We have each other. We have a community. We have knowledge sitting in our hands. If we still don't use this life to realize the truth, which is fulfillment, he says it's like spiritual suicide. It's a complete waste. So the first thing he says is evolve, seek Govinda, seek this truth. This is what we're born for. What other thing is there to do? Can anyone think of anything better to do than to seek the truth? Is there anything better to do? There's nothing, right? Understanding our purpose is key. And so he says, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam, Bhaja. He says it 3 times. 3 times because he wants to really, really put it in. And he says, Mudamate. He says, fool. He calls us fool. When we think of the word fool, what comes to your mind? Who's a fool?
All of us that are in ignorance, right? We're all fools.
All of us, right? When you break the word down, fool, right? F-O-O-L. What does it mean? Who's a fool? One who focuses on the outer and on the lower. Our outer layers we've seen in self-unfoldment, our food sheath, Annamaya Kosha, our vital air sheath, our mind, our intellect, our bliss sheath. One who focuses on that and that alone and forgets what's the essence. That's called a fool. We focus on our body so much, focusing on building our body so much, eating healthy so much, our diet so much. We forget what's most important, the essence. Some of us focus on our minds so much, on the state of our mind. We forget the observer of that very mind. Some of us focus on our intellect so much, making sure that we're so well informed and well known and that we're so smart. We forget what's beyond that. Somebody who focuses on the outer layers of life, that's called a fool. Somebody who focuses on the lower, F-O-O, focuses on the outer, focuses on the lower. Someone who focuses on the lower, on worldly thoughts, on worldly things, that person is called fool. In other words, we are all called fools because we've just lost our focus. We've lost sight of what we're supposed to be doing. So this is a text that's going to ground us and say, this is what we're meant to be doing right here and right now. Seek Govinda, seek Govinda. And he says here, Samprapte sannihite kale. Why is there such an urgency? Why is he shaking us? Why is he waking us up? Because he says samprapte. Samprapte means when it comes. When what comes? Kala. When that kala, which is sannihita, when that appointed time comes, means when the appointed time of death comes, nahi nahi rakshati. It doesn't protect you. What doesn't protect you? Dukre, grammar rules, or worldly knowledge. So he says, when the appointed time comes, all this stuff, it won't protect us. First is, we think that we're never going to die. We think we're going to live forever. We have this notion. And this is what Yudhishthira says in Mahabharata. He says, one of the greatest wonders is that People die every day, but we never think we're going to die. We feel somehow that we're still young. Why do I have to seek God now? I'm still young. Why can't I enjoy my life? Why can't I go here? Why can't I go there? Why do it now? When I grow older, I can seek God. I can get a little bit more serious. Newsflash. A verse will come. When we grow older, there'll be no energy left. Our hearing, our loss of hearing will happen. Our vision will start to go. Our body will start to become frail. Once we're older, there's nothing we're thinking about except pain. This is a fact. All those who we see grow older, this is what they're thinking about. It's very hard to think about God. You cannot. So therefore, when we are healthy, when we are able, when we can do it, he says, do it now. Do it now because it's a process. Seeking is a process. It's a process of life. It's something that evolves over time. And he said, don't think that only when we grow older we'll die. Anybody can die at any time. And if we were to just die right here, right now, are we okay? If we leave this world without seeking this truth, without realizing this truth, what happens? Return trip guaranteed. We'll come back for sure. Who wants to go through this again? A few months ago, there was a very sudden death. One family, from Chinmay Mission, abroad, they had sent their son here to go to NYU. And so he came 2 weeks before NYU was opening. And he was at some party or something. And so, they left the party and they were going to find an Uber to go home. As he was walking to find the Uber, he gets hit by a drunk driver. Now, this kid is 18. Never in the parents' wildest dreams would they have thought this would have happened. These are things we do every day. We send our children out every day. We never think it's going to happen. Somehow when it's somebody older than us, it's a little bit more acceptable. Still very hard, but a little bit more we can take it. When it's somebody younger, it's very hard. Very hard for a parent to lose their child. These things happen. These things are very much there. Only one who is prepared, who has this knowledge, can deal with anything that life has to bring to us. Because we never know what life will bring. It's full of surprises. You and I think some days everything is going very smoothly. Wait. You and I think some days it's very, very rough. Wait, it becomes smooth. So this time of death, nobody knows. We don't know. So he says, seek Govinda before it's too late. Seek now. And he says these grammar rules that we, keep thinking about, is it really going to help us? What he's really talking about here is worldly knowledge. And in each of the verses, he's going to criticize something or the other. He's going to criticize thirst for wealth. He's going to criticize thirst for pleasure. He's going to not so much criticize, but examine. Examine for us to see. And we have to form our own thought. Because that is the scriptures. It's examining for us. Because we won't do these things on our own. Nobody's going to sit here and think, oh, I should seek God. No, nobody's going to do that. The scriptures are there for that purpose. He's saying that this worldly knowledge, is it really going to help us? Sometimes we get so preoccupied thinking that the kids should learn everything. They should learn science, they should learn math, they should learn this, they should learn that. Do they know how to live their lives? Do they know that? Do we know how to live our lives? We might have accumulated so much knowledge, so much. Our IQ may be very high, all of these things, reports may be very high. do we know how to live life fully? We may be very good in one area of life. Sometimes we're very good in the career, but family life, not so good. Sometimes we're very good in family life, but we're not very good in with the community. Sometimes we're very fragmented. So this knowledge, not only is it the knowledge of the truth, but it's the knowledge of how to live life fully. Because with this knowledge, you do live life fully. This is not the knowledge of objects. Of the worldly knowledge is the knowledge of this objective world, of what's happening. This is knowledge of the subject, which is far more important because the objects keep changing. The knowledge that we so-called, the so-called knowledge that we have in this world, what is it? It's only it's only belief. It's all, somebody postulates something and somebody says, okay, this is the truth. Somebody disproves it. Atom is the smallest particle. Nope, not true. There's something smaller than that. Big Bang theory is how this world was created. Nope, there's something else to that. There's all these postulations that this is what it is, this is what it is. They're all being disproven. They're all being disproven one by one, one by one, one by one. So when we start accumulating worldly knowledge, what we're really accumulating is beliefs. At some point in time, they will prove to be untrue. The things that we studied before in our college days, whether it was medicine, whether it was law, whether it was technology, now it's not applicable. Very, very little bit of it is applicable because the world is changing so rapidly. So someone who is so bent on accumulating worldly knowledge is being examined here. Is it really worth it? Further, this worldly knowledge, it boosts the ego. I know so many things. I'm so learned. I'm so wise. But real knowledge is supposed to destroy the ego. This worldly knowledge, does it really remove suffering? No. But this knowledge, it will. So therefore, he says, seek this. Seek Govinda, because right now it's the best thing we can do in life. It's the seat of fulfillment. And don't think that this is such a sad thing that we're going to examine all of these things. They're very sad. It is true. It is going to be a sad thing when we go through it, but only when we realize the limited nature of the world will we want to seek the unlimited. And this text is about understanding the limited nature of everything. Not only the world, but every person, every experience, every situation, seeing its limitations so that we can turn within. Because we never know when the appointed time will come. Some people say that in this Bhagavad Gita, there's this verse that says, Antakale chamameva. Means, doesn't it say in the Bhagavad Gita that if I think about the truth or God at the end of my life, and I will go to God? No, there's the word cha there. Cha means and also at the end of your life, meaning if you've been thinking about that throughout. And if you think about that at the end of your life, that's where you will go to. But if you haven't thought about it throughout your life, do you think that the thought of truth or the thought of God will even come upon death? It won't come. So therefore, make this the purpose of life. Now, when we, when this verse comes, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, some people say, or some people might think, does that mean you have to leave everything? Seek God, seek the truth. Does that mean you have to go somewhere? Does that mean you have to leave? So I will tell you this story, And you can understand from the story what it means to seek. There was a cook. He was a cook for this very rich man. He was a cook. And, this cook really liked to sing. So whenever he was in the kitchen, he was singing one song or the other, one song or the other. And he would cook and serve this rich man. And his idea was he would save some money and then eventually go into the field of music, because his real passion, he knew he was born to sing. He knew he was born to sing. So he said, I'll save some money and I'll go and I'll, go into music. So that's what happened. He saved money. So he left the rich man, but they had a very nice relationship. He went to pursue singing. Now he was a cook who was singing. Then he went to this field of music and he became so successful that he was a great singer. And a few years later, that same rich man invited him to the house and said, please come, please come to my house. I want to see you. So now he's a singer. He came. And it so happened the rich man had a guest. And it was lunchtime. There was no cook. So the singer told the rich man, if you please permit me, I'll go and I'll cook. I'll make a meal. So the rich man said, are you sure? You're a singer, He said, yeah, of course I'll cook. So he goes to the kitchen and he cooks. And he cooks and he cooks and he cooks. And of course he's singing. And when he brings the meal out, the rich man said to him, this is the most delicious meal that I've ever tried. And why? Because now he's a singer who's a cook. Before he was a cook who was singing. Now he's a singer who's a cook. And it's because his music, his love, he's carried it through and through his life. So his meal was so delicious. So what does this mean for us? Right now, I'm a mother, a father, and a seeker. So I'm a father seeking. I'm a mother seeking. This is how we live our lives. I'm a father seeking. I'm a mother seeking. I'm a grandmother seeking. What Vedanta is telling us to do is switch it. I'm a seeker mothering. I'm a seeker fathering. I'm a seeker nurturing. Become a seeker first. Nobody has to leave their home. Stay in your home because that's where you're meant to be. But be a seeker first. Because if one is a seeker first, then the attitude of parenting is very different. The attitude of parenting is very different because we know that these children don't belong to us. We know that we're just the carrier. They've just come through us. And so there is no attachment that this child should be this way or this child should be that way. There's no trying to control anybody or to want the partner to be this way or that way. There is just that sense of accommodativeness. Why? Because I'm a seeker first. I'm a seeker first, and this is my field, my family, and this verse will come as my field to grow and to thrive. But this is not my ultimate purpose. My ultimate goal is to seek within. That's what seeking means. And it doesn't also mean that I have this time for seeking and then this time for my family. No, everything seeking can be throughout, just like the singing cook. He's singing even if he's cooking. Seeking is throughout. Even when we serve our families, it's seeking only. Even if we're in the kitchen or in the office, wherever we are, that's seeking only. Yes, of course, we need that time, that internal time to maybe meditate, do our japa, do our spiritual practice. That is very true. But don't ever think that seeking is only that time. A true seeker means you're a seeker full time. And everything else, is just a role that you have to perform, with the background being that you're a seeker. This is what it means to seek Govinda. So this first verse is really seek, evolve, and don't revolve. Don't stay stuck up in this wheel of life and death again and again and again. I'm going to pause here and we'll see if there's any questions first.